Did you know that every day you face a silent battle, not out there, but within your own mind? Think about that for a second. Right now, as you're sitting here watching this, there's a war being waged beneath the surface. A quiet one, no explosions, no flashing lights, just you and the voice inside your head, the one that tells you to wait, to hide, to stay small, the one that whispers, maybe someone will come save you. But here's the harsh truth. No one is coming. Not your friends, not your family, not some miracle hiding just around the corner. That illusion, that one day, someone or something will swoop in and rescue you from the chaos of your own life, is one of the biggest lies we've been sold. And the longer you cling to it, the longer you stay trapped. The Stoics knew this. They faced it head on, because they understood something most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. That growth begins the moment you stop waiting and start acting. When you look in the mirror and realize the only person who can pull you out of the darkness is staring right back at you, that's where real strength is born. And I get it. This isn't easy to hear. We all want to believe someone will fix it for us. That if we just wait long enough, something outside ourselves will change. But the uncomfortable truth is, it won't. You either take control, or you don't. And that line, the one between those who move forward and those who stay stuck, it's thinner than you think. I've been there, waiting, hoping, blaming everything but myself, until one day, I realized that hope without action is just a quiet form of despair. That self-pity might feel warm for a while, but eventually, it rots, and the only way out was through. You don't need permission, you don't need perfect timing. You need one thing: the willingness to show up for yourself. Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because every small step, every uncomfortable decision, every time you choose discipline over distraction, is a declaration, a quiet, powerful way of saying, I'm not waiting anymore, I'm not hoping, I'm building. One moment at a time. And that's where the battle turns. From struggle into strength. From fear into focus. From waiting into becoming. You don't need a savior. You need a mirror and the courage to face what's in it. Because no one is coming to save you. But maybe, just maybe, you're not meant to be saved. You're meant to rise. We've been taught since we were kids that the goal of life is to be happy. That one day, when we have enough money, enough love, enough success, we'll finally arrive at this magical state called happiness, and it'll stay with us forever, like some reward for surviving the chaos. But that's not how life works. And deep down, you already know that happiness isn't permanent, it's fleeting. It comes and goes like waves, like weather. One moment it's there, bright, warm, filling your chest with light, and then the next, it's gone. Maybe a word someone says, maybe the way a door closes a little too hard, or maybe it's just one of those days. And suddenly, you feel empty, alone, drained. That doesn't mean you failed. That doesn't mean something's wrong with you. That just means you're human. We're not supposed to feel good all the time. We're not wired that way. Pain, discomfort, sadness, they're not enemies. They're teachers. They show us what matters. They cut through the noise. They remind us what we care about. The problem isn't that we feel sad. The problem is that we think we shouldn't. That every dip in the road means we're broken. So we try to numb it, distract ourselves, pretend. But what if, instead of running, we sat with it, faced it, asked it what it came to teach us? I'll be honest. I've had days where I couldn't fake a smile even if someone paid me. Days where getting out of bed felt like climbing Everest. And for a long time, I thought those days meant I was doing life wrong. But now, I see them differently. Those were the days I grew the most. Not the days I felt unstoppable, but the days I almost gave up and didn't. The days I cried and still showed up. The days I doubted everything, but kept walking forward anyway. That's what strength looks like. Not the highlight reel, not the Instagram smiles, but the gritty, raw, unfiltered truth of continuing despite it all. Happiness isn't the goal. Presence is. Growth is. Being able to look sadness in the eye and say, I see you, but you don't control me. Because the truth is, chasing happiness like it's a destination will only leave you tired, disappointed, and always searching. But recognizing happiness as a moment, a gift that visits you, not a place you live, that's freedom. And once you stop demanding to be happy all the time, you start living fully. You embrace the full spectrum, the joy, the sorrow, the confusion, the clarity, and in that space, you become real. You stop performing, you start being, and that is where the magic begins. Change is inevitable. No one escapes it, whether it's a shift in your career, a new relationship, or simply growing older. Change comes for all of us. And let's face it, change is terrifying. It forces us out of our comfort zones, away from everything we thought we knew. It's like being forced to jump off a cliff, not knowing if there's a net to catch you or if you'll crash to the ground. But here's something they won't tell you. Resisting change doesn't protect you. It doesn't shield you from the unknown. It just drains you. I know, because I've been there. I've fought change tooth and nail, refusing to accept it, hoping if I just hold on tight enough, everything would stay the same. I thought that if I could keep the pieces of my life in place, I could avoid the chaos. But the truth, the more I fought, the more exhausted I became. The more I resisted, the harder it felt to breathe. Change doesn't wait, it doesn't ask for permission. And the longer you deny it, the harder it hits. But what if you stopped fighting it? What if, instead of pushing against the current, you let yourself flow with it? What if you trusted that chaos, that uncertainty, could carry you to a better version of yourself? This doesn't mean you should give up or just let life happen to you. It means you accept the fact that things will change, and you choose to respond to it with strength. You control your reaction. You can't control the storms that come into your life, but you can learn to weather them. You can decide whether you want to drown or learn how to swim. I'm not saying it's easy. Far from it. Change is uncomfortable, it's painful, at times, and it makes you question everything. But every single time I've allowed myself to adapt, to stop running away from the unknown, I've come out stronger, I've come out better, and you can too. We don't always have control over the circumstances, but we always have control over how we respond. That's the key. It's not about preventing change from happening. It's about choosing how you handle it. You can choose to be paralyzed by fear, or you can choose to embrace the challenge, knowing that even the hardest moments are stepping stones to something greater. So, let go of the need to control everything. Stop holding on so tightly to the past. Stop trying to keep everything the same. Instead, flow with the current, lean into the discomfort, because once you do, you'll realize something incredible. Change doesn't destroy you, it builds you. Motivation is a feeling, a fleeting rush that hits you like a wave, sometimes strong enough to carry you forward, sometimes fading away before you even realize what happened. It's like the spark that lights a fire. But what happens when that spark dies out? What happens when the excitement fades and all you're left with is the cold, hard reality of everyday life? That's where discipline comes in. Discipline isn't about feeling inspired. It's about doing it anyway. It's about showing up even when your body wants to give up and your mind is screaming at you to take a break. Because motivation, it's temporary, it's unreliable. One day, you might wake up ready to conquer the world. The next, you might not even want to get out of bed. That's just how motivation works. But discipline doesn't care about how you feel. It's the quiet force that drives you to do what needs to be done. No matter what, it's the difference between success and failure, between progress and stagnation. I've had my share of days where I didn't feel like doing anything. Days when the idea of pushing through felt like too much. And trust me, I know the temptation to give in, to take the easy way out, to tell yourself that you'll try harder tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, and the more you put things off, the harder it gets to start. That's where discipline becomes your secret weapon. Because when you're disciplined, you don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for that perfect moment. You create that moment by sticking to the plan, by sticking to your habits, even when it feels like a grind. It's the little things that make the biggest difference. The habit of waking up early. The habit of reading a few pages each day. The habit of showing up even when no one's watching. Those small actions, repeated over time, compound into something bigger than yourself. They become the foundation of an unshakable mind. And an unshakable mind, that's what keeps you going when the world tells you to quit. That's what helps you push through when the weight feels unbearable. You see, motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going. It's what helps you fight through the setbacks. It's what allows you to keep moving even when the road gets tough. I've learned that if you rely solely on motivation, you're setting yourself up for failure, because it's not always there when you need it most. But discipline, it's always there, even on the hardest days. It's the steady rhythm that propels you forward, whether you're feeling inspired or not. So don't wait for motivation to strike. Build the discipline to show up anyway. Make it a part of who you are. And watch how it transforms not just your actions, but your entire life. Not everyone will understand you. And honestly, that's something you need to come to terms with sooner rather than later. The world doesn't owe you acceptance, and no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to convince everyone to embrace you. That's just the way it is. And guess what? That's perfectly fine, because life isn't about pleasing everyone. It's not about living up to someone else's expectations, trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. The moment you realize this, a massive weight will lift off your shoulders. For the longest time, I tried to fit in. I bent myself into shapes I wasn't meant to take, tried to be someone I wasn't, just to get approval, just to avoid criticism. I let other people's opinions dictate how I should live, how I should act, what I should say. And let me tell you something. I was exhausted, mentally, emotionally, physically. It wasn't until I stopped seeking validation from the outside world that I began to feel lighter. The more I embraced my true self, the more I let go of what others thought, the freer I became. And it wasn't easy. It took time. It took a lot of mistakes, a lot of heartbreak, and a lot of letting go of people and situations that no longer served me. But here's the kicker. The more authentic I became, the more the right people began to show up. They weren't the ones I'd been trying to impress. They were the ones who saw me for who I truly am, the messy, imperfect, unfiltered version of myself. And those are the people who matter. Those are the relationships that build you up, that make you feel understood, heard, and appreciated. The truth is, when you live by other people's standards, you're living a lie. You're not being true to yourself. And in the end, that only makes you feel disconnected from your own life. The path to peace and fulfillment starts the moment you stop worrying about fitting in. The more you try to please everyone, the more you lose yourself in the process. You start to water down your identity. Trade pieces of who you are for approval that never truly satisfies. But when you choose authenticity, something incredible happens. You become magnetic, not in a way that forces people to like you, but in a way that attracts the people who actually align with who you are. You'll draw in those who value the real you, your quirks, your flaws, your strengths, and those connections. They're deeper, they're more meaningful, because they're built on honesty, not a facade. It's easy to get caught up in trying to be liked by everyone, to want everyone to understand you. But the reality is, you don't need everyone to understand. You just need the people who matter to understand. And those people will see you. They will accept you. And most importantly, they will love you for the person you truly are. So, stop trying to fit in. Stop seeking approval. Be unapologetically you, and watch how the right people will find their way into your life. It's a game changer, and it's worth it. Failure doesn't mean defeat. Let me repeat that because it's something so many of us miss. Falling down isn't the scary part. The scary part is refusing to get back up. It's thinking that one stumble, one mistake, means the end of the road. It's believing that just because you've fallen, you've lost. And that's the lie that keeps people stuck. That's the lie that holds them back from reaching their true potential. I've fallen more times than I can count. I've failed miserably, repeatedly, in ways that left me questioning my own abilities, my decisions, my worth. There were days when failure felt like a weight, dragging me down into the darkness, convincing me that maybe I wasn't cut out for this after all. But here's the thing I didn't realize in those moments. Failure is just a lesson in disguise. Every scratch, every bruise, every setback is an opportunity to learn. It's the universe telling you, try again, and try smarter. You don't fail when you fall down. You fail when you decide not to rise. Some of the most successful people I know have failed more times than I could ever imagine. And I mean real, gut-wrenching failures. Things that would make most people give up. But the difference between them and everyone else is that they refused to stay down. They saw failure as part of the process, not the end. They used it as a launch pad, propelling them higher, pushing them to be better, to grow, to evolve. They didn't see failure as a defeat. They saw it as a stepping stone to something greater. And here's where it gets powerful. Failure forces you to become resourceful. It forces you to dig deeper, to find new ways to solve problems, to get creative. When things come easy, we don't grow as much. But when we face failure, we have no choice but to adapt, to stretch beyond our limits, and that's where the magic happens. But the key is to keep getting up, every single time, not just once, not just twice, but every time you fall, you get up stronger, you get up with more wisdom, you get up with more fire, you get up with more resilience. And the next time you face failure, you'll see it differently. You'll see it as a challenge to overcome, not a verdict on your abilities. Failure doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. It shows you exactly what you're made of. It gives you the tools you need to succeed. And the only way to truly fail is to stop trying, to stop getting up. So, yes, fall down, fail, but do not stay there. Because every failure is a lesson that can launch you into your greatest success. Pain is your greatest teacher. I know, it's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're in the middle of it, when the weight of the world feels like it's crushing you. The last thing you want to hear is that pain is something to learn from. It's so much easier to run from it, to hide from it, to push it down and pretend it's not there. But the truth, pain has a way of teaching us what nothing else can. It's the most uncomfortable, the most challenging, but also the most powerful teacher you'll ever have. Think about it. Every time you've experienced deep emotional pain, every time life has hit you hard, it's been an opportunity to grow. I know this because I've been there. I've had moments when the pain felt unbearable. I've had times where I wished I could just disappear, escape, numb the feeling. But it was in those very moments that I learned more about myself than at any other point in my life. Pain makes us question everything. It forces us to look deeper, to search for meaning in the chaos. And that's where the growth happens. When you're at your lowest, When you feel like there's nowhere left to turn, you have two choices. You can either give up and let it break you, or you can lean into it and ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? And when you ask that question, something remarkable happens. You begin to understand that the pain is not here to destroy you, it's here to transform you. It teaches you resilience, it teaches you patience, it teaches you empathy, it teaches you that no matter how bad things get, you can survive. More than that, you can thrive, because the pain doesn't define you. It's just a part of your journey. It's not the end of the road, it's a stepping stone. The more you face your pain, the more you realize how strong you truly are. You start to see your ability to bounce back, to adapt, to rebuild. Pain also teaches us to appreciate the good. Without experiencing loss, we would never fully understand the value of what we have. Without heartbreak, we wouldn't know the depth of love. Without failure, we wouldn't appreciate success the way we should. Pain has a way of clarifying what matters. It strips away the unnecessary and forces us to focus on what's truly important. I've learned that the hardest moments often lead to the greatest transformations. The darkest times lead to the brightest realizations, and in those moments when it feels like you can't take another step, when you're exhausted from fighting the pain, that's when you're actually growing the most. You may not feel it in the moment, but if you look back after some time has passed, you'll realize how much stronger, wiser, and more capable you are because of what you went through. So don't run from your pain. Don't shy away from the hard emotions. Embrace them, sit with them, ask them what they're trying to teach you. And when you do, you'll find that the strength you're looking for was already inside of you, waiting to be awakened. Pain is not the enemy. It's the gateway to your greatest self. Your past does not define you. I know that's something we all hear. But do we really believe it? Do we truly accept that the mistakes we've made, the moments of weakness we've shown, don't determine who we are today? It's hard to shake off the weight of the past, especially when it's full of regrets and missed opportunities. It's easy to look back and feel like everything you've done wrong is stamped onto your identity forever. But here's the truth. Your past is just that, past. It's not the script you have to follow moving forward. You've made mistakes. We all have. I've made plenty. Some I still carry with me. Others I've had to let go of. There have been days where I felt like giving up. Days where I thought my mistakes were too big to overcome. But then I realized, the moment I let my past define me was the moment I stopped living. Because the past is a place to learn from, not to live in. The person you were yesterday, the decisions you made, the things you said, those are all part of the journey. But they are not the whole story. Every single day you wake up, you're given a new chance, a new opportunity to leave behind what didn't serve you and choose who you want to become. You're not locked into a version of yourself that's already been written. You have the power to rewrite your story, starting right now. The mistakes you've made don't have to become a permanent part of your identity unless you let them. And that's where the magic lies, in your ability to choose. To decide that today is the day you take control. I've seen people completely transform their lives. People who, just a few years ago, were stuck in the same toxic cycles, unable to break free from their past. But when they decided to take ownership of their lives, when they chose to stop being a prisoner to their past, that's when everything changed. They didn't ignore their mistakes. They acknowledged them, learned from them, and used them as fuel to build a stronger, wiser version of themselves. And that's the key. It's not about erasing the past. It's about seeing it for what it is, a chapter in your story, not the conclusion. Every day is an opportunity to grow stronger, to be better than you were yesterday, to choose to step forward, no matter how many times you've stumbled before, because who you are today is not determined by where you've been, but by what you decide to do with what you've learned. So stop holding yourself back because of past failures or regrets. Stop letting them define who you are. You have the power to create a new narrative. Your story is still being written, and it's up to you to decide what happens next. Fear will always be there. It's a part of being human. It's the voice in your head that tells you to stay small, to stay safe, to stay comfortable. It's the knot in your stomach when you step out of your comfort zone. Fear is the shadow that follows you, always lurking, waiting for the right moment to strike. But here's the crucial thing: being controlled by it, that's a choice. And it's a choice we make every single day, whether we realize it or not. For a long time, I allowed fear to rule my life. I let it dictate my decisions. I let it convince me to play it safe, to avoid the unknown, to stay in the confines of what felt comfortable and familiar. But I came to realize that the more I let fear have control, the smaller my world became. Every time I took a step back instead of forward, every time I listened to that voice telling me to stay where I was, I lost a piece of myself. And I know I'm not the only one who's been there. We all face fear. It doesn't matter how successful you are, how much experience you have. Fear is universal. It doesn't discriminate. But here's the real truth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite it. It's looking fear in the eyes and saying, I'm still moving forward. I'm still going to take this step, even though my heart is racing. It's not about being fearless. It's about acknowledging your fear and choosing to keep going anyway. Because that's where growth happens. That's where the magic happens. Every time you choose to walk toward what scares you, every time you lean into discomfort, you're expanding the borders of who you are. You're breaking down the walls that fear has built around you. And you're making space for something greater. And it's not just about the big moments, the huge risks we take. It's also in the small, everyday decisions to face fear. Whether it's speaking up in a meeting, starting a new project, or doing something that feels unfamiliar. I've had to face fear more times than I can count. There were moments in my life where I felt like I couldn't move forward, where I felt paralyzed by doubt and uncertainty. But the times when I chose to face that fear head on, to walk into the unknown with shaky hands and a pounding heart, those were the times that I grew the most. Those were the moments that shaped me into who I am today. Fear doesn't go away. It's always there, lurking, ready to pounce, but that doesn't mean it gets to control you. You have the power to decide how much space fear gets in your life. You can choose to let it hold you back, or you can choose to act despite it. Every time you take action in the face of fear, you grow stronger, braver, and more confident. So, don't wait for fear to disappear. It won't. Instead, learn to walk alongside it. Learn to let it be there, but not control you, because on the other side of fear is everything you've ever wanted. And the only way to get there is to keep moving forward, one brave step at a time. You can't control everything. It's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? Especially when you're used to thinking that if you just try harder, work longer, or plan more meticulously, you can make everything go your way. I've been there, believing that every detail, every outcome was within my grasp if I just controlled it enough. But the truth, there are things beyond your reach, and trying to control them will only drain you. There are forces outside of you, other people, circumstances, the future, that you simply cannot predict or control, and the more you try to, the more frustrated and powerless you'll feel. I've spent nights awake, tossing and turning, stressing over things I had no power over. I tried to micromanage every aspect of my life, but all I succeeded in doing was creating more chaos and stress. It wasn't until I realized that I could never control everything that I found peace. The only thing you truly control is your attitude and your actions. That's it. No matter what happens around you, no matter what obstacles or challenges life throws your way, you have the power to choose how you respond. You can choose how you react to the storm. You can choose whether you let the chaos drag you down or whether you rise above it. Focused, calm, and resilient. When I finally let go of the illusion that I could control everything, that's when things started to shift. I realized that the more I tried to control things outside of my control, the more I was holding on to a heavy burden. I began to let go, little by little, releasing the need to manage every outcome. I stopped trying to control other people's decisions, the future, or even the unpredictable nature of life itself. And you know what? It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting that there are things beyond your control. And that's okay. You don't have to have every answer or predict every twist in the road. Life is unpredictable, and that's what makes it beautiful. When you surrender the need for control, you free yourself to embrace the uncertainty, the unknown. You become open to the surprises and the opportunities that you would have missed if you were too busy holding on tightly to your own plans. When you stop trying to control everything, you'll feel lighter, you'll feel freer, you'll realize that peace doesn't come from manipulating the world around you, but from mastering your own mind and your own actions. You'll find that the more you focus on what you can control, the way you choose to respond, the effort you put in, the way you treat others, the more peace you create in your life. It's not easy to let go of control. I know that, but the moment you do, you'll realize that you can handle anything life throws at you because you've already learned the most important lesson. Peace comes from within. not from external circumstances. So, start today. Let go of the need to control everything, and instead, focus on the only things you can truly control: your attitude and your actions. And watch how much lighter, freer, and more at peace you become. Real growth takes time, in a world where everything is instant, from fast food to instant messaging to same-day deliveries. It's easy to think that growth should be just as fast. We want success now, we want results yesterday, and when we don't see things changing quickly, it's tempting to quit, to throw in the towel, to say, maybe this isn't for me. But here's the truth I had to learn the hard way. Real growth isn't a quick fix. It's a slow, steady process, and it requires patience, persistence, and most importantly, time. I've spent so many years chasing instant gratification, believing that the faster I got to the top, the better I would feel. I pushed myself harder, faster, trying to do everything at once, all in the hopes of seeing immediate results. But what I failed to realize is that real growth, whether it's in your career, in your personal life, or in your emotional well-being, doesn't work that way. It takes time, and more than that, it takes consistency. You won't see the progress every day, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Think about the trees. They don't grow overnight. A seed doesn't suddenly sprout into a towering oak. No, it takes years, sometimes decades, for a tree to reach its full potential. And yet, we see these towering trees, and we forget that they weren't always that big, that strong. They started small. They started with just one tiny seed. Just like the small efforts you're putting in today, you might not see the results immediately, but that doesn't mean you're not on the right path. I used to get frustrated when I didn't see immediate results, when I didn't see my hard work paying off as quickly as I hoped. I'd question if I was doing the right thing, if I was even good enough. But over time, I realized that progress isn't always visible in the moment. Sometimes, it's the work you're doing behind the scenes, the moments where you show up day after day, even when no one is watching, that truly build your future. It's those small steps that compound over time and lead to real change. Small progress every day is how you build something extraordinary. It's the little things you do consistently that matter. Maybe it's spending an extra 30 minutes each day improving your skills, or taking a few minutes each morning to center yourself before you start the day. These seemingly insignificant moments of effort add up. They create momentum. They create a foundation that supports growth in ways you can't even imagine right now. So, don't rush. Don't quit just because results aren't instant. I know it's hard. I know it feels like you should be further ahead by now. But real growth isn't about a sprint. It's about a marathon. It's about showing up every single day, doing the work, even when the progress feels small. Because one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come, how much you've grown, and how much strength you've built along the way. Remember, trees take time to grow, and so do you. You're in the process. You're building something great, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. Keep going. You're on the right path. You are your best investment. I've heard people say this, but for a long time, I didn't truly understand it. I spent years chasing the next best thing, new opportunities, new gadgets, trying to secure my future with investments outside of myself. But the more I looked outside for answers, the more I realized the one thing I needed most was inside me all along. You see, no investment will ever pay off more than investing in yourself. And I don't mean just throwing money at the latest course or buying the newest self-help book. I'm talking about real, intentional work, nurturing your mind, body, and relationships. Because when you build yourself from the inside, the outside world can't shake you. I used to think that success came from external sources, what job I had, how much money I made, how many people followed me on social media, but none of that mattered when I was mentally exhausted, physically drained, and disconnected from the people who truly mattered. It wasn't until I started investing in my mental and physical well-being, my growth, and my relationships that I started to feel truly strong. And that strength, it didn't just come from the outside world. It came from within me. Your mind is one of the most powerful tools you have. It shapes how you perceive the world, how you react to challenges, and how you grow from adversity. But a strong mind doesn't come without effort. It requires you to be intentional about what you feed it, about the thoughts, the people, and the environment you expose yourself to. It requires you to challenge your negative thinking, to confront your fears, and to continuously seek ways to grow and expand your understanding. When you invest in your mind, you're building resilience, the kind that allows you to face life's toughest moments with clarity and focus. And then there's your body. I know it sounds cliché, but your body is your temple. It's the vessel that carries you through life, and when you neglect it, you're limiting your potential. When I started to prioritize my health, getting enough rest, exercising, eating right, I began to see a huge shift, not just in how I looked, but in how I felt. I felt more energized, more confident, and more capable of handling whatever life threw my way. Investing in your body isn't just about looking good on the outside. It's about creating a strong foundation that supports you in everything you do. And don't forget your relationships. The people you surround yourself with play a crucial role in your growth. Invest in the relationships that bring you joy, challenge you to be better, and support your journey. They are the ones who will lift you up when you fall, and the ones who will keep you grounded when things get tough. You can't do everything alone, and building a strong, supportive community is one of the most valuable investments you'll ever make. Here's the thing. You may not be able to control everything that happens around you. The world will always throw curveballs. People will disappoint you, and circumstances will shift unexpectedly. But the one thing you can always control is yourself. You have the power to shape who you are, how you respond, and how you grow. That is the most powerful investment you can ever make. So, don't hesitate. Invest in your mind, your body, your relationships, because when you're strong inside, nothing in the outside world can break you. The more you nurture yourself, the more you'll realize that you are the key to your own success. You are your best investment, and the returns, they'll be greater than you ever imagined. These aren't just life tips. These are principles to live by, and I'm not just saying that as empty words. I've lived through these lessons myself, and I can tell you, they work. It's not about a quick fix, a shortcut to success or happiness. It's about changing the way you think, the way you move, the way you respond to the world around you. These principles aren't meant to be nice ideas, they're tools. Tools that can transform the way you approach life, your work, your relationships, and most importantly, yourself. If you start today, even with a single step, you are already changing. You are already moving, and the power in that small step, it's immense. You might not see the results immediately, and that's okay. In fact, it's better that way, because the real growth, the deep-rooted transformation, happens slowly, over time, through consistent effort and dedication. Every step you take, no matter how small, is another piece in the puzzle of becoming the best version of yourself. And the more you keep walking, the more you realize the path was always there, waiting for you to take it. It's just up to you to step forward and embrace it. This journey will push you, challenge you, and sometimes it will feel like you've hit a wall. But that's where the magic happens. Growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from discomfort. It comes from the moments when you want to give up but choose to keep going. It's those moments, the ones where you push through your doubts and fears, that define who you truly are. And the best part, you don't have to do this alone. You're part of a larger journey. We're all on this path together, growing, learning, and evolving. And every time you take that next step, you're inspiring others to do the same. We all have that inner strength. Sometimes it just takes a little spark to ignite it, and that spark is within you, right now. So, what are you waiting for? Don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect moment. Start now. It doesn't matter how small your first step is. What matters is that you take it. You might be afraid, you might doubt yourself, but that's okay, because every step you take is a victory. Every time you choose to show up, to be better, you are becoming a stronger, wiser, more resilient version of yourself. Thank you for listening, for taking the time to be here. I'm excited for you. The journey ahead is yours, and I know you're ready for it. We'll meet again on the next leg of the journey, where your inner strength will grow. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. Keep walking, keep growing, and never stop believing in your own power. See you next time.